Jersey Freedom. What are you expecting from them?
Yeah,
here?
this is going to be a really exciting match, Nick. Obviously, New Jersey Freedom undefeated this season in the NVA, coming into the quarterfinals and this championship weekend as the heavy favorites, right? Undefeated, lots of all-stars on their team, big guys, big, athletic team, but they're going up against Dallas Tornadoes, right? And one of the most dynamic players in the league in Felix Chapman. So it's almost like 1 against 6. Not that, Felix has some supporting cast as well, but it's really the Felix Chapmans against, right, the New Jersey Freedom.
And we've seen him put the team on his back, event 4 of 36 kill performances.
Yeah.
I mean, that's superhuman at that point. That is a rarely seen just heroic effort. And so we've seen a lot of contributors on their side. We're going to see Angel Rivera returning this event. We haven't seen him in a bit.
Yeah.
Stepped away from the Puerto Rican national team. They were traveling up to Canada for a Pan Am event. He decided to be here instead. So he will be playing for them in the middle. They also have Chico Porum as well as Grosh in the middle. But we expect to see Chapman making his appearance, of course, Canole, and Chase McKenzie on the outside. But before we get too far into that, we're going to hear a little more on the sideline. Noah Chast with coach of the New Jersey Freedom. Take it away.
Thank you, Nick. Carlo Edra, the head coach of the New Jersey Freedom, and the perfect regular season 10-0. But it's a new ball game now. What is your message for the team heading into playoffs?
I think we're doing a lot less focus on what the other team's going to do. We're just going to make sure that we're playing our brand of volleyball and force opponents to play the way we want the game to be played.
I think the New Jersey Freedom, has one of the deepest teams in the league, but you're missing Ian Cap and Matt Elias, and that's 2 all-stars. Hard to replace guys like that. How do you fill in those gaps?
It's simple. It's next man up mentality. We've been together for so long now that we've kind of, if you've seen how we've managed the team throughout the years in the NBA, we rotate guys in throughout all our matches. So we're 100% confident in every guy we have on our roster. So if somebody's missing, we all know that everyone else can get the job done.
And even with the guys here, like you said, you rotate everyone in. Is there a reasoning for the lineup for this match so far?
In the honor of gamesmanship, no.
Not going to give away the secrets. Coach, how do you stop Felix Chapman, the ultimate question on this Dallas Tornadoes team, which you've done before?
I really don't know what we did last time, but we're going to try to do something similar again this time. What that is, I guess we're going to have to tune in and find out. But yeah, I mean, we understand what kind of player Felix is. We're just going to have to do our best to make plays against him because the guy's a monster.
So whatever thing they may or may not have done, they're going to possibly do or not do again. Be on the lookout for it. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
And we may or may not have an exciting match of volleyball ahead of us here. Definitely excited to see. New Jersey Freedom has a lot of options of personnel here. We're still getting an exact, final lineup from them, but what we have heard, so a couple pieces. Ian Cap, their all-star outside, not here this weekend, was unable to make the trip. Also, Matt Elias bought a home this weekend, and so he's got some final unavoidable details.
Real-life responsibilities
Real
sometimes
life responsibilities, so congratulations to him.
Yep.
But he won't be here, and that means that Ryan Kenny will be at the helm. And we have confirmed that John Cunningham, happy birthday to him, will be reprising the libero jersey over Ryan Alou today. So I think that they're kind of using a variety of their players, making sure that everyone's fresh and managing the roster a bit.
The depth on the bench for Team Freedom is something that they can definitely use to their advantage, right? Even though Coach Edra wasn't quite sure what they did last time to be successful against Felix Chapman, I'm sure he's going to be able to find that same recipe. Obviously, assistant coaching and team owner Justin Beaumont will take, some credit there as well. But those two coaches obviously have got a really well-run franchise and program in New Jersey with this group of guys that play together a lot. They've known each other for a very long time. You heard it from Coach as well. Over the years here in the NBA, they've played in a lot of matches. They've been in situations where they can work through it, right? They can, next man up gets called in, he can contribute. If it's someone else needs to come in to get replaced, obviously they have the firepower. They're undefeated, so they've got something going in their favor, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's just a matter of time, and their firepower is going to be something that's going to be very difficult for the Tornadoes to overcome today.
It really is, and one of the other pieces that we've looked at, when you just talk about the depth there, so we've heard Matt Seifert won't be starting in the middle, which is when that team is putting their best foot forward, he's a given on that lineup, but they still have Matt Buffum, Tom Burrell, Paul Bolonzik, and Doug Zema. 4 more middles ready to go on the bench. The one thing that I am curious to see is how seamlessly Ryan Kenny steps back in, but also Ian Kapp is a very natural 0-1 presence for this team. When you remove him, how does the combination of Ferreter, Milnazic, and Venegas, who steps in? Is that something that can be exploited perhaps? On the side of the Tornadoes, the exploitation will have to come from Felix Chapman.
Well, what it really comes down to for the Freedom is they're going to be their block and defense against Felix Chapman. They don't have to shut Felix Chapman down. They have to contain him, right? They cannot allow him to go off for 35, 40 points in this match. In order to win, they have to contain him to something else and then focus on the other guys as well.
Well, it's going to be something to keep an eye on here. We got a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. And back into the action, but before we proceed too much further, let's get some more insight from a man on the sideline, Noah Chast. Noah, take it away.
And kind of the man behind the curtain pulling the strings in Dallas. How does it feel to be here in San Bernardino?
It's exciting. It's exciting to be in here and in the final weekend of this tournament, this league. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing experience. We've been working hard in Dallas, you know, like getting ready for this moment, like just for this moment, just for this weekend. Is all or nothing.
And this is a team that just made its way into the playoffs. What was the message on how to capitalize?
So right now it's like starting over, you know, like it doesn't matter if they went 10-0 and whatever was the rate for everything, like we're going like 0-0 at the first game, the first ball, and then we're going to start working from that.
If there is a weakness in this undefeated Freedom team, what is it and how do you exploit it?
I don't think there is weakness in this team. I think we are focusing more in our strengths. Like the way that Felix has been playing, you guys have been seeing him like flying and killing it. So we've been focusing more on like our side. We know what they are able to do. So I think the serve is going to be a great component today. Like if we are able to have them playing a little bit out of system, it's going to be a little bit easier for our defense. But it's going to be a tough game for sure.
So no doubt we're going to see a whole lot of Felix Chapman.
Oh yeah, as always. He's a machine. He's on fire. When he's on fire, he's unstoppable. So we are hoping he has a great weekend and he's going to help us to win some games for sure.
Absolutely is unstoppable when he's on fire. Felix Chapman, one of the most dangerous players in the league. Thank you for the message from Coach Jorge. Nick, Matt, send it back your way.
Well, if you missed it earlier, we're off of a great win for your guys this morning, a 5-set barn burner as the OC Stunners took down the Utah Stingers. After that, we just saw a clean, clinical 3-0 sweep there as the Texas Tyrants bested Orlando Southern Exposure. Up now, as you know, of course, New Jersey Freedom taking on the Dallas Tornadoes, and we've got some cherry on top to end it all day tonight, and that's going to be the Las Vegas Ramblers taking on LA Blaze. 2 more matches tomorrow, that's your semifinals, and then 2 more on Sunday. Third place match and the finals, of course, to top it all off at 2 p.m. Matt, the one thing I want to see more than anything, when I look at player evolution over the season in terms of just the way that they are composing themselves, their game, their mindset, Joe Norman for me is the big X factor here, given kind of the shuffle on the outside. What are you expecting to see from a guy like that?
Joe Norman has the ability to really take over a match. He's 6'10", opposite hitter, good jumper, attacks the ball well over the top of the antenna. But sometimes he can, kind of vanish on the court and really not be as dominant as really I think everyone expects him to be. So for them today, Team Freedom, they need a great performance out of him today and all weekend if they do want to win the championship and stay undefeated, right? But, you know, you got to get him activated early. You got to get him offensively activated so that he can take that offense to the inline with his jump serve, because he has one of the most dangerous jump serves in the NVA. And so, you know, for Joe Norman, he's going to be, you said it, an X factor, but it's going to be a very entertaining one as well.
I totally agree. And the one thing that I think is going to help, you know, you talk with Ryan Kenny, Matt Elias, these guys really understand what they want from their players and how to play the game. And I would look to setter Ryan Kenny here to be the one that dictates the way in which Joe Norman plays this match, because frankly, there's going to be a size mismatch for the right side here against the second outside hitter. So we'll have to see exactly how that's you know, viewed by the offensive scheme, but also can it be exploited? We talked about that from Specie in last game with Southern Exposure.
For sure.
So
yeah, and that falls directly onto Ryan Keeney, the setter for Team Freedom, to realize and notice who the matchups are on the block and defensive side of the ball.
Getting verification here. We are all good to go. Teams are about to shake some hands. I'm very curious. We haven't seen, unfortunately, the lineups just yet. I want to see the middle squad. I would not be surprised to see a Doug Zemma, Tom Burrell duo here. Tom Burrell has been hitting at a very, very high clip this whole season. Doug Zemma, very impressive when he has made the commute for 3 of the events this season. So definitely excited to see what options they go with here and how that matches up. While Angel Rivera is a little more undersized, he was the MVP in the Puerto Rican League this past season. It was he and Gianluca Grosso that were getting they were at the final 2 votes. And Angel Rivera was able to get that finally over Gianluca. So speaks to his pedigree as a player and someone that they'll look to see if they can boost their roster a little bit here. But good to see the Tornadoes mostly fully staffed. Noticeably missing is Steve Roschitz, who's been battling an injury all season. And also in the setting position, Andres Quinones will be taking the helm this weekend. They've had a variety of setters all season long.
Yep.
He will be the answer here today, given the personnel available. So interesting to see how that works out for them. Matt, take it away. What do we got lining up on the side of New Jersey Freedom?
So New Jersey Freedom, I see Thomas Burrell and Doug Zemma through the middle, like you called, Nick. Well said. Obviously, Joe Norman, the 6'10 opposite. He'll be starting at left front. Ryan Kinney will be the setter. Meanwhile, outside hitters will be Ferder and number 11, Daniel Venegas, with Callahan as the libero for Team Freedom.
Looking on the other side of the net for the Tornadoes, Chase McKenzie starts in the 2 spot. Peter Knoll starting on the outside. We see Grosh, number 9, Joseph Grosh starting in the middle. Opposite of him, Angel Rivera. Sam Schuldenberg reprising the purple libero jersey. Felix Chapman will be on the right side. No surprise there. Andres Quinones to be the setter.
I'm going to make a quick adjustment. Nick, I said John Callahan as libero. It's actually John Cunningham. So apologies.
Caught it. And it's his birthday today.
And it's his birthday. So apologies, John. Happy birthday. And you're the starting libero for Team Freedom.
There it is. Well, the stage is set, and we are about ready to get underway here as all of the final technical side is getting ready to go. And it's time to get underway. Felix Chapman going to be the first server. Worth noting that one of our fourth compatriot of our sideline broadcast crew here, Ira Thor, finally made his trip from the East Coast, so he'll be joining us later on during this set, so keep an eye there. And while you're keeping an eye, look for number 7, Ferreter, with a huge swing over the triple block. Big kill to start it off.
Well, that was also a big serve from one and only Felix Chapman. However, Ferreter, with 3 blockers in front of him, blasting it through the block and down for the first point.
Kenny to serve for Freedom. Rivera misses that one with a bit of a paintbrush. Easy dig, and now Norman takes a turn. Off balances Rivera. And Norman wastes no time putting a kill in his first statted kill column.
And right out of the gates, you're seeing the diversity of offense that Team Freedom has at their abilities, right? You've got Ferreter on the left side, Joe Norman on the right side, and you haven't even run anything through the middle of the court yet.
Good pass, Rivera. Sets to Chapman. Roll shot to keep it alive, read by Cunningham. Well, there's the middle of the court attempt. Venegas not ready for that pipe. And that's going to be a good wipe off the hands from McKenzie, taking advantage of the mismatch in size against Norman. Sometimes as a smaller hitter, you get to really abuse as you come from a lower point of contact, and 7-inch difference there. McKenzie coming in at 6'3" to the 6'10".
Sometimes that lower advantage actually can put the advantage on your side, right?
Certainly can. Now Ferreter gets a chance. Misses that one wide. Tornadoes 2-2.
Ferreter just trying to avoid the block that time of Peter Knoll down the line and missing wide.
Kenzie with another big serve, but a perfect pass dug by Chapman. Little confusion who that's going to, but cleaned up very well. That was an impressive swing from Knoll. Saw that over his head. Plenty of beach experience there to help number 14 out. Doug Zema got a good hold on that middle swing, but Chapman read him like a book.
Good discipline by Felix Chapman to sit there and play defense off that quick attack, but the serve error coming from the Tornadoes side.
Schuldenberg with a perfect pass back one. No problem, Daniel Venegas answers the call.
Great discipline right there on the block by Daniel Venegas to stay in place and not bail out. Gets the solo block on that back one attack from Rivera.
Ferreter with another big serve, targeting Schuldenberg. And another move from the middle. Doug Zema squares to Norman. Taking care of business is New Jersey Freedom.
Now back-to-back stuff blocks by Team Freedom. Really nicely done. Good discipline, good technically sound block, getting their hands way over the net and not exposing their arms to get tooled.
Knoll tries again. Covered by McKenzie. Little bit of miscommunication there. Who was going to take that cover? It's a good recycle on the outside by Knoll. That's got to be a very easy recycle there, but Tornado's not quite ready for it. 6-3. Ferreter to continue from the back line. Felix Chapman misses that one wide.
Now the air is starting to mount for the Tornadoes.
Ferreter to serve. That one just long, good eye, and a call from Schuldenberg to let that one go.
Got to appreciate the aggressive serve, but Ferreter just missing the inline that time.
He's been one of the big parts of the impressive serve and receive line of Freedom. One of, if not the best serve and pass team in the league. Definitely something that other teams have to overcome. And there's going to be a net between Quinones and Grosh. Not sure who got it, but that'll be a point for the Freedom. All the same with Doug Zema back to serve. Nice pass by McKenzie, one-handed set into a triple block. Freedom resets. Venegas loses the handle on that one. Open court everywhere, but this is wide out of bounds.
Yeah, an unfortunate hitting error that time. Trying to be a little too precise as he tried to thread the needle, but just missed wide.
Kenny back to Norman. Norman over the top of the block. 9-5. The Freedom train rolls on. Norman with off speed, handled by Knoll. And Knoll attacking the high seam there. Great rip, too much heat for Ferreter.
Peter Knoll really taking advantage of that seam, hammering that ball right through the block. Venegas went a little too wide on protecting his line. And Peter Knoll takes full advantage of it.
Big toss. Sends that one long by just a foot. And Venegas trading missed serves. That's something we always talk about, understanding the concept of the missed serve. You know, serve too easy and might as well just underhand it over, try and get too aggressive, and you're never going to see a point to play and defend it on your side. There's a happy medium for every team. The way they choose to balance and tread that line, definitely one that's back and forth.
And right there, you see a serve that was maybe a little too easy, and Team Freedom takes full advantage of it, going quick through the middle. Burrell getting a point off of the block and out.
Set to the outside, McKenzie attacking that one. Norman not able to quite get that one to keep alive. Made a good move, but
you know, Coach Edra is a little frustrated that ball didn't get picked up, as that was a good deflection off the block. Back row player had time to get there, but turned up just a tiny bit short.
Chapman gets a hold of that one. And while he might be a little slow to start right now, it's not anything that we haven't seen before. Felix Chapman expected to carry so much of the offensive load. I wouldn't be surprised if he's finding his rhythm at about 15 points. They'll give him a couple more sets to get that engine going. Good connection there between Quinones and Rivera. Rivera being a little slow to get out of the blocks today, but quick speed, that's what you got to rely on. Is if you're an undersized middle, you've got to be up early and beat the ready hands of Doug Zema. Doing it well there.
And it's always very interesting to see how players start the match out, right? A player like Felix Chapman, kind of notoriously a little bit slow in the beginning of the match offensively. He's got to get his, you know, body and mind kind of warmed up to the in-game sort of situation. It's much different than warm-ups, obviously, and so hopefully for the Tornadoes, Felix comes alive here pretty soon.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need it. Ryan Kenny finding Zema in the middle there prior to the missed serve by Ferreter. Ten to 13, Tornadoes still in a decent spot considering that they're really not even utilizing their secret weapon just yet. Nice pass, and Norman goes for the off speed, rarely seen, but that makes it even more deadly. You just assume the big swing coming from the America headband over there, but great off speed, well rewarded there.
Yeah, Joe Norman showing the evolution that he continues to improve throughout the season, and his offensive attempts there continuing to evolve as well.
Just long, some service errors here currently plaguing New Jersey Freedom, keeping Tornadoes a bit in it and giving them a chance if they're able to start converting some real points on their end when they get the serving opportunities. Quinones with a float. Backside to Norman, that's a massive 2-2 swing. No chance for that one to get dug.
And that's what you can do when you're 6'10" and you can jump like Joe Norman can, wearing his trademarked American flag bandana there. But that was a pretty big, sharp angle there from Joe Norman.
See if he can carry that right back on into an aggressive jump serve. That's good pace, but a better pass. And Chapman is blocked back by the duo of Kenny and Burrell. Arguably the shortest blocking duo on that team, but no problem. We're going to take a quick timeout break. We'll be right back at 16:11. That's the technical timeout. Don't go anywhere. Back into the action here after that technical timeout. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the National Volleyball Association, New Jersey Freedom, as they take on the Dallas Tornadoes. Joined by my co-casters here, Matt Prosser, Noah Chast on the sideline. I'm Nick England. Joe Norman back to serve. Nice pass from Schuldenberg, and Grosch hammers that in. Finds a nice point attacking zone one. Knoll gets the overpass. McKenzie throws it down, accelerates that ball very well. Heads up play. It's very rare at this level when you see a contested overpass coming. Most guys aren't taking swings because you don't want to get blocked. Guys are making good, quick turns. So McKenzie just kind of redirects them.
And some good service pressure here from Peter Knoll for the Tornadoes.
Good pressure indeed. Kenny keeps it alive just barely. Wow, hang and bang. Felix Chapman, a little bit of a connection still to be worked out by Quinones and Chapman there, but that's the benefit you get of having Felix Chapman on the right side.
Yeah, timing not really on par right there between those two, but Chapman's so athletic, jumps so high, he can kind of jump and then wait before he attacks that ball.
And a one-handed stab keeps that alive. Burrell able to bring it back, and now an opportunity for the Tornadoes. Oh. And while you might say that's the attempt they're looking for, Tom Burrell makes the solo move because Venegas covered in the middle. So your middle is on the left side of the court and gets the solo block against Chapman.
Really huge heads-up play there from Team Freedom, and Thomas Burrell gets the last laugh with that huge stuff down on Felix Chapman.
And the service errors continue. Freedom up 17-15, Matt, but the continued missed serves, Tornadoes don't even have to play the point out.
It's one of those things, you want to challenge with your serve but not miss too many, and right now they're walking a very fine line as Team Freedom from the inline.
Grosch targets Cunningham. And a missed connection. I think that set getting up as high as it needs to. A little slow for Burrell, but I like that they're trying that connection now. I'd rather see a missed attempt in the middle than anywhere else on the court for sure. Grosch to McKenzie. McKenzie betters the ball and gets a hold of Burrell.
And the momentum continues to build on the side of the Tornadoes as Team Freedom calls a timeout after that play.
Well, that's a bit of a shocker to see that one. 17-17, that's gonna be a quick timeout. This one is heating up. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Time to get back into this, though. I think New Jersey Freedom, they've got to do a little bit of problem solving. Maybe it is as simple as, hey, you know, just settle it down. But a little bit more concerned when I see that the, you know, I don't know what their approach is on the service line, but right now they're getting a lot of feeling unwarranted service misses. And frankly, when Sam Schuldenberg is in the serve receive line, you got to be getting serves in the court because he's going to pass very well. There's a big kill, though. A nice pass, getting the Freedom offense established right away. That's where the veteranship comes in. These guys don't miss a beat. Burrell gets a good bit of chaos, and that serve goes out of bounds. Or sorry, that swing off the block goes out of bounds. Felix Chapman, he's been struggling to get the offensive train producing, but does very well there. Quinones tracked that one down well. Our second match with a Quinones setter, both are brothers. There are 3 in the league involved in some capacity. Ferreter 4-4, returning fire. This is Ferreter's first season with the Freedom and first season in the league, and we have watched him continue every single event to just continue to get his rhythm back to what he looked like in college, and he is really peaking at the level right now. But Angel Rivera, great connection with Andres Quinones. Good kill for the Tornadoes. Tied up at 19 apiece. Matt, I'm not sure that we saw this be in the final, or the score at this point in the game here.
Not when they were down 16-11 halfway through at the technical timeout, and credit to the Tornadoes to find the momentum and some fire on their side. A lot behind this server right here, Chase McKenzie.
Schuldenberg digs. Chapman tries to keep that second contact off the floor, but unable to do so. The heat continues from New Jersey Freedom. Ferreter missed his last serving attempt. See if he's able to keep this one in and put the pressure on Tornadoes. Set was a little low, missed opportunity. Now Norman on the out of system, waffles that one long, wide, and gives Tornadoes a free point. I like the idea to go to Rivera on that set, but a little low. Tough one there. Yep, Javier Guerrero is going to be substituted in here for Angel Rivera. So he'll be a serving substitute. One of their outside hitters from the University of Texas, Austin.
Well, Nick, we've got ourselves a game here, although that's a service error into the net, 21-20 in favor of Team Freedom, but this is the business end of set number 1, and after a very comfortable lead has gotten away, now just a 1-point advantage for Team Freedom.
Matt Buffum, Doug Zema, little substitution here. They're doing their serving sub, and Matt Buffum is no surprise. He has a rare and uncanny ability as a middle to just hang out for multiple rotations with serving runs. However, that's a cast or curse on my end there, and Buffum misses. That's going to send him back to the bench. 21 apiece. Number 11, Quinones. Good pass by Venegas. Joe Norman goes off the block. High IQ tip. Why swing when you can just get a nice wipe?
Very calm and collective and confident is Joe Norman on that tip off the block and out of bounds.
It's one of those things, sometimes you lose track of how big these guys really are because both Chapman and Norman are just that massive. They look like they're the same height, kind of, and so you kind of lose track of the fact that at 6'4", they make me look like a very small individual.
You're 6'4"?
Yeah. Am I getting some passive-aggressive shade over here?
No, never, Nick, never.
Okay. The official NVA stat books will reflect that claim.
You know, stat books are a lot different than reality sometimes, I'll be honest.
Tip, deflected back. Chapman's going to send this one over. Takes Kenny out. Cunningham to Venegas, and that's chiseled off the block. A lot of movement there from the side of the Tornadoes trying to recycle it and get their point.
That's a huge point for Team Freedom. Sorry, Nick, didn't mean to cut you off there, but that's a really big point for Team Freedom to give them back the advantage on the side out and a 1-point lead here, 23-22, as Team Tornadoes decides to call their timeout.
We'll be right back after this timeout. Don't go anywhere. Well, Matt, it's interesting. I feel like we are seeing two of the identities of these squads really not unfolding. New Jersey Freedom, one of the teams that's typically some of the best servers, they're missing a ton of serves.
Yeah, a lot of service errors from Team Freedom for sure has allowed the Tornadoes to come back into this first set. But in their defense, they've also started to really find some momentum on the offensive side of the ball is the Tornadoes.
Yeah. And also, we're not seeing a lot out of Felix Chapman. It's kind of everyone else really doing a great job right now. If Chapman's able to get activated, this team gets very scary very fast. There's the back set to him, and there it is. The double block of Ferreter and Burrell. Not able to contain him, and early on we saw that misconnection on the tempo. Quinones not expecting to really be the starting setter here. So he's got to kind of figure out exactly how and when. Chapman's expecting the set. Well, win is always.
You know, a couple moments ago, Thomas Burrell got that huge stuff down block against Felix Chapman. I think that might have been the spark that Chapman needed to wake up a little bit, because ever since that point, he's attacked the block every single time and scored on the offense and has really come alive after that one.
One of those things, sometimes you don't want to sleep or poke the sleeping bear.
Yeah.
Well, set point here, 24-23. Of course, the set goes back, and that one's going off the hands of Ferreter. Felix Chapman is getting loud, rowdy, and fired up. 24 apiece, and now it's his turn to serve.
That's a scary sign if you're following Team Freedom, to see Felix Chapman crush that ball off the block and then a very primal yell through the net and say, you can't stop me, in full challenge mode right now.
Cunningham gets a great pass. And Ferreter is dug now by Chapman. Chapman's going to get another chance to swing. Dug by Norman very well. Triple block, deflects it back, and all of a sudden, Tornadoes take the lead at 25-24.
What a turnaround by the Tornadoes.
Wow, a turnaround indeed. Now the question, can they finish the deed and steal set one? We've got a timeout. We'll be right back to find out right after this. Well, Matt, 25-24 in a miracle run turnaround, down by 5 at 16-11 when we went into the technical timeout, and a point at a time. They've chipped away. Dallas Tornadoes now driving the boat here and seeing if the conductor at the helm, or the captain as it were, can Felix Chapman take him home?
Quite the turnaround here to really set the tone here for this third quarterfinal match here.
Just long, and there's a conversation if they're going to challenge, and they're going to. I like this challenge.
I think you have to challenge this one. I mean, you might get lucky, catch a compression on the line, especially for that set point.
Yeah.
Like, you have to use the challenge to test it out here to see if it might get lucky.
Well, we love our challenge system that was introduced earlier this year. And so the way that works is each team gets 3 challenges at the beginning of the match to be used throughout the first 4 sets at any time that they would like. If you get the challenge correct and overturn the call that was made, you get to keep your challenge. If you challenge call and are incorrect, you lose that challenge. So what that means is Dallas Tornadoes getting a challenge correct here means they'll keep 3, they'll get a point, they'll win the set, move on to set number 2 at a 1-0 lead. If they get it wrong, we're going to be looking at 25 apiece, and they've lost a challenge. So right there on your screen, we're taking a look at this one here, and it's a frame-by-frame kind of thing.
And Nick, I went and I spoke to the whole Freedom bench, and they said easily that ball's out. That ball's out, not even close. But now looking back at the replay, they might tell a different story. Ooh, where is it contacting the ground?
So, yeah, that's the big question is, I think that's going to be called in. We'll see. That looks like ball compression on court to me. That right there shows compression as far as I'm concerned, but it's got to be irrefutable. And we're going to see, because the ball right there continues to roll on the ground, so that frame is out. The frame before, as far as I can tell, my untrained commentator eye says that ball's in.
That's why we have a head challenge official upstairs. They will radio down to our officials on the court here.
Well, this is an exciting one. Ball is in. That's an ace. That's going to do it. Great challenge. And that's the Dallas Tornadoes stealing set number 1. You've got to make that call exactly like you said, Matt. Challenge it. See what happens.
See if it works for you.
And that's going to do it. We're going to be right back after a brief commercial as the Dallas Tornadoes have now made a massive turnaround and snuck set 1. We'll be right back. And we're heading back here courtside after a massive upset. From a 5-point deficit, the Dallas Tornadoes are able to overcome New Jersey Freedom on a walk-off ace challenge. That's as controversial as it gets. Officiating crew got that one right. But right now, we got some exciting news. I get to hand the play-by-play microphone over to my compatriot here, Mr. Ira Thor, a mainstay here on the NVA broadcast. He's been dealing with some, travel issues, but they are issues no more, my friend, playing an instrumental part of us being where we are today on ESPN. Finally gets to reap a little bit of his own rewards.
Like half the country, I was dealing with travel issues. 17 hours of delays later, I'm happy to be with you on this historic weekend for professional men's volleyball in the United States alongside Nick England. And the New Jersey Freedom, after getting upset in game one, get a gift to start off game two.
A gift indeed. You have got to be ready for that.
Now the question is, does New Jersey go to its bench? We know that they have Matt Seifert available if necessary. They have Ryan Alou at libero if necessary, as that one eats up John Cunningham, who is celebrating his 30th birthday today. He joins the Old Man Club. Happy birthday, John. Quiet set for Felix Chapman, who goes back to serve, as he only had 4 kills in game one, hitting 40%. And those fans out there not familiar with Felix Chapman, he doesn't put up normal human numbers.
Yeah, you should. If you're not familiar with him yet, you will be shortly. And go check out our social medias to find out exactly what he's all about.
Joe Norman, one rotation out of the outside, swing away for the kill. We'll have Tim Fairder go back to serve. And that one is long. We had some information from the New Jersey Freedom bench during a break, and we'll send it to the third man on our crew, Noah Chast.
Well, first off, welcome, Ira. We're so happy to have you back here in the booth calling these games with us this weekend. It's a pleasure to see that you're here, you're all right, and you made it. Secondly, I was eavesdropping on the Freedom's bench between sets, and Coach Carlo Edra telling his team we were in control 75% of that match. But at the end, we started to lose our composure. We were missing serves, we were shanking passes, we were getting tooled. He's saying, that's not us. Stay in control and do what we know how to do. And to me, that shows you what matters here in the playoffs is the regular season does not matter. It comes to doing it now. And it's the true test for the New Jersey Freedom, who have shown it all regular season. When push comes to shove, down some players, mixing up the lineup, can they close and capitalize?
Well, thank you, Noah. And these teams did play earlier this year. Of course, New Jersey's 10-0, so to get there, they had to go through most of the league. Only teams they didn't play during the regular season were Southern Exposure, the Matadors, and the Ramblers, who, if they get by this match, could potentially be a foe they see down the line. But they played Dallas back on May 8th, and it wasn't much of a match. 13, 22, 21. The difference, though, Nick, is that they were at full strength that day was New Jersey. Dallas today comes full strength, and the adversity that mostly full strength.
Less a setter, and right now that could be the most important part. But Quinones has done well thus far.
When you look at the missing setters, say which is the bigger piece. And Ryan Kenny's obviously a very good setter, but I think the absence of Matt Elias this week is going to be the most felt absence in the league of the players who aren't here, in my opinion, at least because of the way that he ran that offense and got involved defensively as well. I thought Matt Elias, you could argue, was the most important setter in the NVA during the regular season.
Yeah, definitely an argument can be made there, and it's interesting to see. We were talking about how important Joe Norman was going to be. He picked up 6 kills with only 1 error during that first set, and those are the exact kind of numbers that we expect and want to see from him. But the other number that I'm seeing that's most important here, currently Team Freedom is sitting on 8 missed serves with no aces. That is an unexcusable, terrible stat so far. Meanwhile, Tornadoes, 4 missed serves with an ace. So that one ace won them a set as well. I mean, that's about as good an ace as it gets.
And that is why the replay system was such a big addition to the NVA in this year, as they go to Burrell, and he gets them a quick side out. after Canole delivered for the Dallas Tornadoes. And we will see Tom Burrell, the former standout at Stevens Institute of Technology in New Jersey, back to serve.
And Ira, you mentioned the absence of Elias. In that ace category is where you really feel the absence of Ian Cap, one of the best in the league behind that service line.
And the question is, what can Danny Venegas, as that is off the block by Ferreter for the kill, what can Venegas, who's a little older now, but the former Colombian national team member, what can he provide here in the absence of Cap? Cap's absence cannot be overstated. He's had, well, matches as high as 25 kills this year, which would be the season high in the NBA if not for, a player named Felix Chapman, who has 4 efforts this year of more than 25 kills, including 3 over 30 all-league records.
Yeah, he's had a remarkable season, to say the very least. You can see why he's spent time playing with the USA squads that go for the NORCECA events and Pan American events, so no surprise there. While he's not there with that team right now, he's definitely making his name known here in the NVA.
And certainly with us being on ESPN for the first time this weekend, a chance for fans around the country to get to know one of the most dynamic players in professional men's volleyball in the United States, in Felix Chapman, and we'll tell you more about his story as this broadcast continues. Roche to serve for Dallas. Here's Joe Norman swinging away for the kill. And he gets the head nod of approval from Team Freedom, which has themselves a 3-point lead. Now, I tried to watch some of these matches while I was on the plane 17 hours later between Newark and Santa Ana. And can't really stream from the air, so it's nice to see this in person. Thank you to Self and Matt for holding it down while I was dealing with the worst travel of my life.
Well, now you get a little bit of a reward for your pains.
Here's Joe Norman swinging through the earth. Norman over the block and just buries that one the spark Team Freedom needs.
Not a large hole there between McKendry and Rivera, but he's able to, or McKenzie and Rivera, but Norman using all of his size to expose that one.
And that one is too long.
Miss serve number 9.
And it's starting to pile up for New Jersey. If they don't win this set, they're gonna rue that mistake. Obviously, having Rivera back is a huge addition, a huge plus for Dallas. He's been out for the last few events, and they missed him. I mean, Dallas Tornadoes are lucky to be in the postseason, as that results in another ace for the Tornadoes. Felix Chapman on court 1.
Mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. Angel Rivera of Puerto Rican descent. He's been playing with the Puerto Rican national team, and they were prepping to go to a NORCECA event up in Canada, and he opted out of that squad and has decided to be here competing this weekend instead.
Passed by Venegas. Norman out of the outside sticks it in the back corner.
Norman rapidly approaching a double-digit kill efficiency right now.
Yeah, we were talking about it a second ago. The Tornadoes lucky to even be in this position. They lost 4 matches in a row between our last event, Memorial Day weekend, and the start of our 5th event on July 8th before surviving the Colorado Kraken to make the playoffs in 5 sets. And they'll drift over and out of play, so the Tornadoes chipping away at the lead. It's now 11-9.
Well, you can't feel safe if you're Freedom after 16-11 wasn't enough to keep them weathered and in control. So Freedom right now wants to see if they can keep cleaning up some of those unforced errors on their end and really play what they consider their best Freedom volleyball.
Chase McKenzie, who had perhaps his best set of the season since joining this team in game 1, 4 kills in 4 swings. But the side out belongs to Joe Norman and company.
If I'm not mistaken, that's kill number 9 for Norman here very early in the 2nd set.
And here is Dr. Doug Zema to serve. Zema, who's been both in the starting lineup and also as a backup this year. Tom Burrell's also in that company, and he and Venegas team up for the block.
An attempted little slide back dump there from Quinones. That one gets shut down and read like a book from the block of the Freedom.
So New Jersey builds a lead back up to 4. New Jersey Freedom, like me, dealing with travel issues because, well, they flew out of the same airport, Newark Airport. Freedom actually was on the runway, and due to the storms and the 3-hour rule, it can only be on the runway for 3 hours by FAA rules. You got to go back to the gate, which is what plagued me. They had to go back to the gate, got off, sat around for a couple hours. Carlo Edra, the head coach for New Jersey, texted me, I think we're actually going to fly out tonight, and I think they got out at like 10 p.m. Meanwhile, I had to basically, stay at the airport all night as Joe Norman puts it away.
Norman is putting on a clinic. That is kill number 10 by my count. He's hit double digits and swinging it at a massive clip right now.
Yeah, Joe Norman certainly is proven why he's an all-star this year, and he's just gotten better as the season has gone on. 6'10" is tough to contain, but when you have his skill level, most dynamic right sides in the league. Kenny goes with the platform pass, tipped over by Venegas, and it nearly fell in, saved by Schuldenberg. They go to Venegas this time, and that one blocked back by Grosh and Quiones. And I believe there's going to be a challenge coming here from head coach Carlo Edra, whether that ball was dug up by a pancake or not by Schuldenberg.
Yep. Well, regardless, you've got to applaud his effort. He came out of nowhere to make sure that one didn't hit the ground. We'll have to see. Again, any part of the ball contacting the ground here will deem that this is not a pancake, and it will be a point for New Jersey Freedom. So getting that full clean pancake can be a bit tricky, but again, it has to be entirely irrefutable evidence. So as our team lines this one up, checks a variety of the camera angles that we have lined up, we'll have to see.
And we take a look here at the replay. Here is Schuldenberg laying out. Watch the right hand. Does it slide in time?
And I was just chatting with Sam Schuldenberg, and he tells me he got it, but you'll find very few liberos that will admit they did not get that up. If they feel it hit their finger, they're going to say that was a pancake.
Well, here's the moment of truth.
Oh,
that's clean.
That's clean.
That's clean.
You're not going to see that get overturned right there. He had a good read on that ball.
And, oh, wow, the officials disagree. Interesting decision there from the angle we had. It looked like Schuldenberg slid that right hand underneath, but well, we saw otherwise, Nick.
I don't know. That's why the refs are the ones that make the call, and we're all just the ones that talk about it. So,
they're just the dummies on the mic.
Well, a big break for Joe Norman and company. He misses that serve long, however. 15-11 and New Jersey on top. Carlo Edra has won virtually every challenge this year. He might be the most successful coach. If we went back and broke it down?
Yeah, Chaparro with Blaze has a pretty incredible clip. Edra, and then, yeah, I'd be curious who else is up there.
We'll talk more about that when we return from this technical timeout as Joe Norman sends New Jersey Freedom to the second set break with a 16-11 lead. And we're back here courtside. Ira Thor alongside Nick England. Noah Chass is the third member of our crew as the New Jersey Freedom have a 16-11 lead again.
Yep, right. We've been here before, and we'll see if it matters anymore this time. I expect that it does.
Now, I've been on the broadcast for a majority of Freedom's matches this year. I think I called 7 or 8 of the 10 during the regular season. So maybe it's just that they needed me to sit down and start talking for them to start playing.
Oh, is that what it was? We had a quick delay there. McKenzie had a little blood, and so that needed to get taped up really quick on his left thumb, it looks like. So ready to go now. We're back into the action.
Obviously, the big piece of the puzzle is that clips off the net. Good job by Grosh to pick it up. Chapman, cross court. Did he get it? He did. And I believe they're going to challenge this immediately. And New Jersey believes that was never touched. That went straight out of play. Or no, I take it back.
Yeah.
They believe Felix clipped the net.
It was a fat net. It was so bad that Felix, like, let's not waste our time. He said I netted. That's why if you watch his body language after the swing, Felix knew it didn't matter, so.
That's actually hilarious right there. Don't even bother redoing it. I am guilty as charged.
He just wants to keep playing the game. He doesn't want to slow down to get an obvious call.
Well, that helps right there as Roche in the middle delivers side out. And here's Knoll to serve. Well, Carlo Edra, Justin Beaumont, coach and owner of New Jersey, were right on top of that one. That pass is off the mark. Cunningham saves it. Ferreter swinging away. Good save by Quiones. As Knoll whips that, but New Jersey was waiting for it. Dumped over by Cunningham. Chance for the Tornadoes to draw closer. Chapman does not. A rare miss on a line opportunity. And that pushes the lead to 18-12. Chapman roasts the line all year long, so it's uncommon to see that mistake from him. And here is Tom Burrell to serve. First time the Dallas Tornadoes have made the postseason. They were, of course, for those who are just watching the NVA for the first time, an expansion team during our shorter season last year. Last year we had 4 weekends, including the postseason. We have now expanded to 12 teams. Means we need more weeks in the season. We have 6, including the postseason. And the Tornadoes needed every weekend to get here.
Yeah, that was one of those things I'm so glad we adjusted. With same amount of matches, but we went to 4 a day instead of 5 a day. So that allowed us to go to way more events. And that's an impressive set from Quinones. I can't put to words what he just did with his hands, but it was basically creating a pedestal for that ball. His hands were not in a normal setting position. If you're able to rewind that one and watch it back, there's a little bit of a snack there for you.
Quinones quarterback's a good ball for his team, right? Obviously, Chapman has a better camaraderie with Francisco Arredondo. We know that, but Quinones obviously does a great job. That one is tooled out of play. And he gave Grosh, the former BYU standout, a chance to show that he is certainly capable of playing at this level.
Yeah, Grosh has been a welcome addition to this squad. Played alongside Chico Porum for most of the season, but now with Angel Rivera back in the mix.
And Porum, of course, was one of the fan selections at All-Star, but not on the court right now for Dallas. And a tool of the block, Joe Norman celebrates like he just won the World Series.
We saw Norman, getting a couple of those wipes earlier, really showcasing how much of a hitting vocabulary he has. He's got tips over the top, wipes off the hands, but plenty of power when it matters.
Now, Dallas Tornadoes are going to talk this one over, 20-13. We'll take a timeout, be back. 20-13 here in San Bernardino, New Jersey, trying to even this matchup at 1-1. 10-0 in the regular season. They certainly don't expect to get upset today, but the Tornadoes putting up a valiant effort here. The third of 4 quarterfinal matches at the Pierce Sports Center. Here is Ryan Kenny out of Cinnaminson, New Jersey. It's near Philadelphia. And Mackenzie, you heard that ball make a very different sound, and that was certainly not going to stay on the court.
That sound you heard is the "you miss, try again." It's a bit of a waffle sound.
I am all too familiar with that sound, as I make it quite a bit when I miss it. Felix Chapman with a miss hit. And that's 2 errors in a row for their most important weapon.
At this point, the Tornadoes feel like they're speed running to get to set number 3. Don't want to linger here in this this set. Down by almost 10 now.
Quite an answer for New Jersey. And Rivera left that one short, so that's now a deep run for New Jersey. They push it to 10, 23-13. And Ryan Kenny will serve after Dallas and head coach Ivan Andujar calls their second timeout. New Jersey's questioning whether they had another timeout. Our R2 here, Steven Shepard, is going to verify. And it does appear that there is a timeout. So we will go to a break and be back for more here in Game 2. And we're back here, our Thor, Nick England courtside. A little confusion there. Nick, what'd you see on that?
So that one was just basically what Freedom believed they saw was the ball had been initiated with a ref. The ref had whistled the play to begin, and then the timeout called. That's what they were debating. So not a confusion of how many timeouts, but the way in which the timeout was called. But the ref said, you know, because sometimes the issue is that it's clearly being asked for, and a whistle is maybe going simultaneously. The ref overruling that and saying, nope, timeout being awarded. No stress, and back into the action. A nice point for Tornadoes.
There's some insights from Nick England. England insights as Felix Chapman serves to try to keep his team in the set, and that is a missile that lands in Santa Barbara. And now New Jersey has set point.
We talk about this all the time, is what are you trying to do at this point in the game? And for the Tornadoes, it's, you know, you're trying to get a little bit of energy and momentum. At this point, maybe they're all just trying to swing as hard as they can and find something to work. But in the game of volleyball, if you serve that under the net, it depends on what gym you're playing in. If you're under 21, you're looking for donuts. If you're over 21, you owe the boys some beer. That's a no-go. And Tim Ferreter, I'll see you at the bar later on, my friend.
If you are staying at the Hilton in San Bernardino, Tim Ferreter's tab will be open tonight, fans. Over on one and an ace for the Tornadoes. McKenzie tries to keep his team in the set, 24-16. Cunningham, that one's off the court. Kenny will run it down. And Venegas misses long and wide, so that will now be 3 in a row shaved off by the Tornadoes. So now a 7-point advantage for the unbeaten Freedom. That one is long, so ultimately New Jersey did enough early on to build up a substantial lead, and they tie this match up with a 25-17 win in Game 2. Set 3 coming up. Stay with us here in San Bernardino. Back here courtside, Game 3 in San Bernardino, and we're going to send it over to Noah Chast, who's going to have a word with New Jersey Freedom middle blocker Matt Seifert.
Thank you, Ira. Joined alongside by Matt Seifert. And Matt, you missed the past events, including the All-Star one, which you were nominated. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How does it feel to be back on the court, well, back here in the gym, ready to get on the court?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the exciting part about it is it's like coming into a brand new season. You know, playoff starts and regular season doesn't really mean too much now. It's kind of you got a win or you go home. So that's the exciting part about it. Just glad to be back with the squad.
What's it like to be with a team that has, 5 middles deep?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I appreciate the most about this team is it's very plug and play. We've got talent across the board. We've got depth in multiple positions, and I think we just all have a lot of confidence in each and every person's ability to go out and get the job done. So.
As someone for now sitting on the sideline, you can put on your coach hat. What have you seen from your Freedom so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, just being on the sideline is just trying to see what the other team's trying to do, paying attention to our block. I think that's one thing I try to emphasize in my game is block defense and just try to give insight with what I see and what I can relay to the guys on the court.
When your number's called, are you ready?
Always ready.
We are.
Always ready. Penn State, let's go.
There we go. Back to you guys.
Penn State, of course, he is referring to the standout career that he had for the Nittany Lions, one of the top programs historically in Division I men's volleyball. So Matt Seifert is available, but right now they're getting a solid effort from Dr. Doug Zemma and also from Tom Burrell.
Yeah, he was also giving a nod to, if I'm not mistaken, Noah Chast, alumni as well of that.
I didn't want to give credit to Noah because he wasn't part of the...
Hey, they're all students.
That was Noah, by the way, walking behind us. Noah got his reporting skills down at Happy Valley as we are getting ready for Game 3. And, some guys played at that level, but some guys like Joe Norman actually played at smaller schools that are unheralded, like the SUNY New Paltzes of the world, former Division III national champions. And right now we have an interesting matchup of two superstars in this league. We have Felix Chapman, who you would think is undoubtedly the MVP of the regular season. 18 attempts, hitting 28%, just 5 kills. Joe Norman, 18 attempts, same number as Chapman, 15 kills with just 1 error, hitting 83%. This has been the Joe Norman Show.
And Ira, while Matt was in the gym working on his volleyball skills, I was in the studio working on my reporting and microphone skills. So we each honed our craft at Penn State University to get to where we are today.
And look at you both now.
Look at us now.
Right here on ESPN in the NVA quarterfinals. As miscommunication there, that is not the most pretty kill of Felix Chapman's career, but he'll take it any way he can.
I think that was payback for the way that we started set number 2 with the free ball that came over and fell in the middle of the court. Felix said, hey guys, I wrote you a check last set. I'm gonna write mine now. If you could let this one go through, that would be fantastic.
Cunningham had been passing at a 70% rate in the first 2 sets, but as Chapman misses again, that is his 5th unforced error. He believes there was a touch. And we'll see if Dallas wants to take a look at it. Dallas will play on as Doug Zemma will drop back into the service spot. The Tornadoes have been passing at a 71% rate as a team. New Jersey just 58%. So that, and of course the number that you pointed out before, which was the service errors without an ace. 2 areas for Team Freedom to clean up here in Game 3.
One of the ones that is most telling to me, though, when I think you mentioned it, but it's that 71% serve-receive rate from the Dallas Tornadoes. Anytime you're above a 70%, it's basically the understanding that you're in system enough to, that's the magic number, that you should be winning the game if your offensive efforts are as efficient as your passing. So right now that means that they're not. So that'll be an interesting one, but passing is far harder than hitting usually in the men's game. So if they've got the pass there, they now got to find that swing in the court.
Joe Norman has had no problems finding that swing in the court as he serves away. And then Chapman works out the kinks, delivering a blast from the back row.
Well, in the pre-game interview, Coach Carlo Edra did not want to relieve any secrets for anyone that might be watching to know how they planned on handling Chapman, but whether intended or simply on the back of Chapman making unforced errors, he has been slowed down substantially thus far, and we'll have to keep an eye on that as we continue forward.
That's certainly why New Jersey, despite missing so many pieces, in control of this match with the momentum, drawing Joe Grosh and Chapman into the net, and that would be a kill for Venegas. Daniel Venegas drop back to serve for New Jersey. 4 kills, 8 swings for him before this set, now up to 5 for 9. Chapman from the outside. That is run down by Cunningham. That one will clip off of these support beams. Schuldenberg stayed with it, and the joust comes back. Tornadoes can't collect it.
Chapman making a good move there to recycle that ball. A little miscommunication between Schuldenberg and Grosh.
Free ball city. Tim Ferreter puts it away. And New Jersey opens up a 6-3 lead. As they wipe off some perspiration from the court, Stephen Shepard, our R2, busy at work even when he's not blowing the whistles. And that is, for the first time today, a New Jersey ace. That could have gone badly there for Freedom if that took a hop the other way, but they'll put it in the ace column, grab a 7-3 lead as Venegas puts one down.
Something to keep an eye on. New Jersey Freedom sets up a screen behind their server. You can see exactly who they're targeting, and they got a bit of, they got McKenzie stuck kind of the serve before that, and just now they absolutely got him with the 3-man screen up front. Even Joe Norman getting involved from the back row there.
Hard to see over a guy who's 6'10". Venegas unloads back-to-back aces, and the Tornadoes call timeout. Back for more here in Game 3 at the Pierce Sports Center. Back here courtside as the Tornadoes call timeout to recompose themselves after back-to-back aces from Daniel Venegas. The last one, well, that took advantage of Chase McKenzie, who had been the top passer for the Tornadoes in the first 2 sets. 80% efficiency for him. Is that 3 in a row? You betcha! And Daniel Venegas is on fire.
Go down the line 2 in a row, abusing McKenzie, and all of a sudden the off-speed to zone 1 catches Knoll napping there.
Almost a fourth. McKenzie got there. Knoll with the roll to end the run.
There was a lot of something special on that there. That was a beautifully hidden outside roll shot there from Knoll.
Well, you could see his beach game coming into full force there. And they will continue to wipe up perspiration. That is mostly from Chase McKenzie, who had to lay out and slid about 10 feet like he was on a slip and slide.
Self-induced. Just pretty toasty out here in San Bernardino, and obviously a lot of liquid effort out there.
Knoll, tough serve there. Kenny gives it outside. Tim Ferreter, that's gonna come back, not again. That one almost went out the window at the top of the center. First time we've seen a ball get that high. As Ferreter, who has to pick up most of the outside load with Cap not being here this weekend. Showing why, even though he's been a little quiet today, he's dangerous to strike at any minute. Burrell, that was blocked and then sent over by Grosh to keep it alive. Here's Norman, and that one sails long. And Norman, just his second error of the match, goes, my bad, I'm entitled to one.
That's what always makes us laugh. Like the Joe Norman misses, both of them looked almost identical. Just bad contact out the back of the court. And then he proceeds to put up 17 kills in a variety of ways. Just what makes him so entertaining to watch as a player. Even the misses are kind of funny at times, but he is absolutely carrying the offensive load right now for New Jersey Freedom.
So last week, I'm sitting at a bar in downtown Jersey City. I think I told you guys this story. Yeah. It'd be kind of cool for our audience. I'm sitting at a bar randomly. I'm talking to another announcer in New Jersey about some work that we do. And I have a woman who's sitting at the end of the bar as she's leaving come up and say, just, excuse me, are you Ira Thor? And I was like, well, how does, a random person just know me? It was Joe Norman's fiance, Valerie, who had gone out. They live in the Jersey City area, gone out after work and recognized my voice from doing these matches with you guys over the last couple of years. They just got engaged a couple months ago. So, first of all, congratulations to Joe and Valerie on your upcoming wedding. It's always interesting when you meet not only fans out there throughout the United States, but also some of the family members and loved ones of our players who aren't here in person too often, but we know are watching around the world, and obviously so many fans watching this one on a huge weekend for professional men's volleyball in the United States.
Down by 7, Tornadoes feel like after sneaking that first set, they're a bit off the rails, and Felix Chapman struggling to get things going his way.
I'm so used this year to see Chapman playing at a level that nobody else can match up with. To see him play human, I'm just not used to that. I mean, there were moments last year where he wasn't at the Felix Chapman level yet, doing things like that. As that was a net violation on New Jersey, so Chapman in the kill column. But yeah, he's been pedestrian today.
Yeah, and it's been unforced errors, really. Like, he's hit some in the net, he's hitting balls just wide, missing the court, and not quite challenging the way he normally does. Could be a missed setter, a bit of a missed setter connection that he's used to, but not handling the adjustment super well so far, but we'll see what he can do.
Reach out and stuff someone. Rivera able to shut down New Jersey. 14-8 first block since the first set for Dallas. Ferreter will save this one. Cunningham, and then Norman just dumps it to send it over. However, there's a back row attacker violation on New Jersey. And the Tornadoes, they will have side out again.
So what happened there was Ryan Kenny was the back row setter, went up, and when he and Knoll were jousting for that ball, contact was made by both. Ball's above the plane of the net, and that means that it is going to be a back row attack there from Ryan Kenny. There was a bit of a delay on the call verifying that Ryan Kenny was in fact back row. Once that was verified by the up ref, that call was made. Point for the Tornadoes.
You can make a case as a player knowing where you are in the rotation, but sometimes instincts just take over. Speaking of instincts, Scholdenberg with a kick save. Here's Norman cross court. Chapman got part of it, and he got all of that. Felix Chapman, dynamite.
Schuldenberg with the kick dig off of his teammate.
Ira, I think he heard you saying he was human, and he had to prove you wrong.
Wow.
I apologize to the other humans out there. Felix Chapman is at another level. He is back. And that's bad news for New Jersey. That's also bad news. Chase McKenzie with an ace in Coffin Corner. And what was a huge lead for New Jersey has evaporated to 14-11. Timeout here on the court. Back for more at the Pierce Sports Center. The Tornadoes have gotten themselves back here in Game 3, but do they have enough to make a full comeback, or will New Jersey take a 2-1 lead in this match? Watching the NVA quarterfinals here on ESPN3. A reminder, we have one more match for you today. That'll be at 6 p.m. Pacific, 3 Eastern, when the Las Vegas Ramblers, they've had themselves a heck of a year as well. They're 9-1. Top team in the American Conference this season. They'll take on the LA Blaze, also back their way into the playoffs, but they have some weapons to see if they can give the Ramblers a run, as this is an answer for Joe Norman. I believe that's kill number 18 for Norman. Chapman swinging away, dug up by Kenny. Here's Norman, that's blocked back. And Venegas, oh, smart play by the veteran. Talk about what we just saw there, Nick, with the swipe by Venegas, crafty play.
Yeah, that was impressive. That's where you look at your 0-2, see what they can get to minimize their errors and maximize some crafty points. Venegas doing a great job there.
Knoll swinging away. Kenny got enough of this to be dumped over by Burrell. Chapman trying to set up Rivera, and he gets the kill. Great set by Quinones to make it happen.
Little bump over there was a free ball and giving Tornadoes an easy opportunity to set that one up.
Obviously, you want to extend the plays, but those free balls usually end with a point for the other team. 16-12, New Jersey on top. As head coach Ivan Andujar, when he looks up at the scoreboard himself, coach of the Dallas Tornadoes was a former All-American player at Division III level. Ferreter, himself an All-American in Division III with that save. Cano down the line with authority, and Kenny can't preserve it.
Nice set by Quinones off his back foot. Hucked that one all the way across the face of the net. Doing very well there.
So Rivera, your server. Tornadoes still down 3. They leave it for Norman. And that's only his 3rd error of the match, but 2nd of the set.
Coming at an untimely time there. 16-14. Nobody up on the block there. Just, that's a freebie as points go.
Little floater. Venegas was ready for it. He'll swing away. And off of Quinones' hands into the antenna. Venegas continues to, well, impress, replacing Ian Cap today.
Yeah, Venegas, I mean, picking up 3 aces in an absolutely absurd run early on. He's continuing to score creative points. Next man up being embraced by number 11 to its fullest.
If it wasn't for that guy, Joe Norman, Venegas could be making a case here for the MVP for New Jersey today, as Chapman again misses wide. Is it a matter of him trying to do a little too much for his team here, Nick?
It's hard to tell. It's one of those things, at what point is a guy like that trying to do too much and also just has to do more? Because if he doesn't step up, this team doesn't win. Plain and simple, I just don't see any way around that. So he's got to keep challenging those hands. He's trying to find his way, and I think that the set selection, instead of sometimes we see the ball is off the ground, time to set Chapman. I think there's a little bit more tact being used to determine when he's going to get set, and I think it's probably for the best right now to give everyone a chance to play out some more points, given his kind of error-ridden swings at the moment. But maybe they need to set him more.
Quinones tried to dump it on 2, and the misfire for Dallas, and New Jersey swells the lead to 5.
I can tell you that that is not the point that Tornadoes wanted right there. I understand Quinones might have seen a window trying to make something happen, but I'll always prefer a guy like Chapman gets the set and makes an error over an unforced error from a dump attempt.
Well, Dallas Tornadoes find themselves in a hole. They'll talk it over. Back for more when we come back here in San Bernardino. Well, Joe Norman came into the championship as the number 5 scorer in the NVA, 4.34 points per set. And it's not just because of his offense, it's because he can serve well too, and his team up 5. Here's Chapman, the league's top scorer. They go to Canole, and he continues to be that second option offensively. Canole has been here most of the season. He's missed a couple of events, but they needed that Robin for the Felix Chapman Batman. And without Steven Roschitz, of course, being injured for most of the year, being available, Canole has been that guy, that number 2, and performed well. Run down by Quinones. Here's Chapman, of course, and he's able to hit it just past Burrell, who committed a little early.
Man, I feel like Chapman's been so terminal in kind of the chaos ball situation, but when they get him with an in-system set, I feel like that's more where we're seeing him struggle so far. Maybe that's something they're able to adjust. Sneaking set number 1 is going to buy them that time, though, for sure.
Venegas run down by Scholdenberg. Great pass by him for Chapman to swing, and he tools the block. All because of the work of your libero, Sam Scholdenberg.
Impressive move by him, and a good heads-up play there. Quinones reads the tempo. Chapman in on a faster backside approach line. Connects well with him.
The lead cut to 2, and an untimely service error for Quinones.
2 back-to-back errors for Quinones when he really needed to just get the team a chance to play the point. Tough spot to be in. He's trying to step up and answer the call as someone that, he's one of the manager owners of the team, not here as a...
And Venegas continues to unleash his 4th ace of the set. And we are going to see a substitution, and you know why this is happening. You talked about the screens. Well, now you have 7-footer Paul Bolanczyk and 6'10" Joe Norman. Try reading the ball through that.
So John Cunningham will take hands here. That means he's either going to have to bump set or take it with his hands behind the 10-foot line. Cannot use his hands in front of the 10-foot line. So the team will just kind of unfold here as the play goes. Cunningham out of the back row.
Bolanczyk swinging away. Interesting strategy for Carlo Edra and company. We'll see if it pays off. They back set to Chapman out of the outside, and the roll is wide. Was there a touch?
Yes, absolutely. There was a touch. Called by the line judge.
And they do get it right.
Paul Bolonzic's body language alone told you what was going on there. A little blocking substitution. We see moves like that, similar from the OC Stunners. You'll see Matt Hilling step in and take hands. They'll make some adjustments there. So that's where you get well-rounded players, and you solve your problems later in terms of who's setting. And basically, when you've got good pins, that's where you can just rely on them to hit the ball.
And that's another moment where you're missing both Elias and Cap. Elias, one of the other setters. Cap, a former setter who can do it all.
And Ferreter able to tool the block of Grosh and Chapman, side out New Jersey. And they work to lead back to 4. That's a big point for this squad. As Burrell.
Well, Ira, we got to say, after a bit of a blowout at 25-17 in the second, feels like Tornadoes is kind of showing a little bit of grit here, fighting their way back in.
Reach out and stuff someone. Wow, Zema and Ferrier pulling on Nick England and blocking down Felix Chapman. Crucial point, 23-18.
That was a heck of a move. Nice set block there by Ferreter on the pin. Doug Zema, clinical close all the way out, double block.
For those fans, by the way, who are not familiar with my Nick England reference, you can see it on Instagram. The reel has had more than 50,000 views.
Really?
Yeah. Nick England with a solo block on Felix Chapman and the celebration for the ages. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do. And if you don't want to search for it, you can look on my Instagram at Ira P. Thor.
And not to interrupt the parade for Nick England's block, but there is a challenge on the floor. New Jersey Freedom challenging that Peter Knoll was over the back line on that back row attempt.
So we'll see this challenge work its way out, and a big point here for Dallas, because if they're able to steal this point, they're still alive here in this set. If not, New Jersey will work its way towards set point.
And Ira, from my perspective, I'm pretty much right in front of that 10-foot line. I saw what New Jersey Freedom saw. It looked like he was just a toe over on that attempt, but we'll see what the replay shows.
As they watch this one, where is the foot? Dallas patiently waiting.
Sorry about that. That was a little hard to track. Now we're going to get a chance to see this one more time in slow motion. Maybe it'll show something, or it might be blocked. It's going to be hard to see.
Yeah, because
does Chapman set the screen and make this uncallable? No.
No,
nope.
He's clean.
That is clean.
And Dallas is going to win this challenge unless we see something. Unless the officials saw something that we did not. But I think that's pretty clear cut.
We all missed the pancake, but based on what we just saw there, no foot fault. Now looks like that one's going to be good to go and keep a point for the Dallas Tornadoes, keeping us. So right now our team is just doing some due diligence. There's a variety of floor cams, so it's not worth really broadcasting, but they're just checking to make sure that there's nothing else that would change their opinion there. I think we got a pretty great view that Knoll was in fact behind. So
yeah, I mean, I like the due diligence, Nick.
Yeah.
You have the camera angles, take a look at them, and just make sure, especially in these big moments, this is not just the regular season now. This is a championship weekend.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you have exhausted every angle you got.
Absolutely, and at 23-19, like make sure you get it right. But based on everything we've seen here, very much the right call to no call that, so that's going to stay.
Yeah, and they got it right on this one. The last one, we weren't exactly sure if the pancake was or was not there, but this one was clear as day, so great job by our replay crew. And chance here for Grosh Company to stay alive, down 23-19. And too long. And this will be set point for Ryan Kenny. Look at the smile from the New Jersey #2 setter. He was the #1 setter when the season started. Elias rejoined the team, and he's going to be with them as long as their season continues. And it looks like it may go to tomorrow at least, as the New Jersey Freedom take game #3, 25-19. They win sets 2 and 3, and they lead the match 2-1. Come back for game #4 to see if New Jersey can advance to the semifinals. Back for more. And we are live here at courtside in San Bernardino. Ira Thor alongside Nick England, Noah Chass, the third member of our crew. And wow, New Jersey Freedom after a first set that this could have easily been a sweep if they had been able to close that out, showing why they've been tenacious all year. They don't have Matt Seifert on the floor. They don't have Ryan Olu, two of their starters out there. They're available, but they're resting for potential semifinal tomorrow. And looks like New Jersey's going to get there if they can continue this in game 4, because right now the Tornadoes don't have an answer for Joe Norman.
No, they don't. And so while we see the opposite side of Joe Norman continuing to be especially effective, Felix Chapman not so much. Swinging right now at a 34% clip. He's got 11 kills on 32 attempts. He's been blocked 4 times, 6 hitting errors. That's 10 hitting errors on 11 kills. So, I mean, that's not the performance, A, that we're ever used to seeing from the big man, but B, that's needed for this team to get pushed into the next round. So, again, decently close sets that we're seeing played. If he kind of turns it on here, there's room that we can still see a run from the Tornadoes, but it's got to be a change on the back of Chapman.
Yeah, 32 attempts, that is what we normally see. They do feed the big man most of the time. But right now, he's got to deliver, or the Tornadoes' first appearance in the NVA playoffs will end in the quarterfinals.
Peter Knoll also with 8 kills, only 1 error, been blocked twice. On the outside, he's someone that really, that was his 9th kill, might be a key part. I'd like to maybe see some more sets going his way.
They're going to go to Ferreter, and he's going to deliver the kill. And after that, let's send it over to Noah Chess, who had a chance to listen in to the Tornadoes bench during our timeout.
Well, Nick, and you're exactly right about Peter Knoll. The Tornadoes coaching staff kind of shifting their lineup in a way to match up Knoll more with Joe Norman when they're front row. So they trust or are putting their trust in the block of Knoll to try and slow down Norman. So if you see that they're a little shifted than they were the previous couple sets, that's what their game plan is.
It's great insight from you, Noah. And you know, if the Tornadoes hope to live to see a game number 5, may not be able to block Joe, but get some hands on it and allow your defense to do the work. Slow him down, as Noah just said. No slowing down Doug Zema there as he puts that one away. Dr. Doug's been fairly quiet, just his 2nd kill on 5 swings. But he's been involved with 4 block points so far this evening. He'll drop back and serve. Off the tape. Chapman, somebody got the net there, and it was Felix.
Yep, on his follow through, you were dead on there. Chapman catches the top of the tape. 11 kills for 11 errors so far.
7 of them unforced. Here's Chapman, and that's just too much heat for Kenny and company. Chapman gets the side out to allow Peter Knoll, one of their better servers, see if they can work their way into a little bit of a lead here in game 4. It's 3-all. And Joe Norman collects kill number 18 on 28 swings. 64% rate for Norman. Just 3 errors in those 28 swings.
Well, Joe Norman is on track to win a set all by himself if he keeps this pace.
Big serve for Norman. Laying out for that one's McCarthy. And the joust won by Grosh over Burrell. So Grosh will serve after they wipe up perspiration on the court. Air conditioning, easy for me to say, is on here, unlike on the plane I was on last night here in the Pierce Sports Center. But it is a warm day in Southern California, 95 degrees. And the heat felt by New Jersey. Tim Ferreter. And it's his 9th kill. He's got 9. Venegas has 7. Together, they have not even as many as Joe Norman.
That's one of those when you start combining kills and someone's outranking others. That's impressive stat.
Down the line, Chapman shrugs it off like I do this normally.
And to be fair, it's very normal that he does and uncharacteristic that he's struggling right now.
Well, as you said, gonna have to figure this out quickly or the Tornadoes are gonna spin into next season. That is left short. And of course, you know, we do have movement from time to time in the NVA. Chapman, arguably the top player in the league. Does he stay in Dallas next year? Does he go elsewhere? He lives in Iowa. As that is put away by Rivera. And I know it's not going to happen, but Nick, imagine if he ever joined your Las Vegas Ramblers. You guys might become unbeatable.
I mean,
not going to happen. It's a pipe dream for you guys. It's like adding.
Pipe dream, sir.
No,
do not disrespect the scouting prowess of the Las Vegas Ramblers.
I feel like adding Juan Sosa. Yeah. A blockbuster trade. That draws Dallas into the net on Rivera. So New Jersey will capitalize. They lead by 1 here in game 4. Here's Ryan Kenny to serve in game 4. Chapman, oh, that one's good slot usage there as he sticks between Kenny and Venegas.
That's one of those where the set may not be perfect and ideal, but it was a good job by Quinones in terms of getting Felix outside the court, no blocker in front of him. So better the swing, no blocker in front of him, easy point to score.
That one dances off the tape. And great effort there by John Cunningham, but on his birthday slides across not only the age of 30, but across the mid-court lines.
Yeah. I mean, that was a great up.
You just have to stay on your side, and he was unable to do so. And that is an ace for Rivera. So that puts Dallas on top, 8-7.
Ryan Kenny is a firm believer in just chatting with the refs, establishing rapport every single match, and wants to just make sure that he's dictating as much as he can from the captain role, running the squad as the setter. So that's where you see a little bit of chatting, no real discussion or disagreements going on.
Kenny is a talkative fellow. He joins you in the offseason on your podcast.
Yep.
That one will fall in for another point for Dallas.
Also joined me in the All-Star match. Co-casted that one with me, and while you were backed up by the only other Thor in the league, Jacob Vanderbeek. Oh, exciting news. There was concern that he had some breakage in his foot. This is the right side from the Inland Empire Matadors. Confirmed that it was basically some deep bruising, but no actual breaks. So glad to hear that from him in the offseason for the Matadors.
Glad to hear that he is healthy, the other Thor. We both were dressed ridiculously there in that All-Star match, but, you know, it's All-Star match. Try to have some fun. And the Tornadoes, they're having some fun right now. They have scored 4 in a row, and they have themselves a 10-7 lead in a win-or-go-home situation. Norman wants to continue playing this weekend, puts away kill number 19. Norman has had as many as 25 kills this season. He and Ian Cap tied for the most kills in the league by a player not named Felix Chapman.
I was curious how we were going to get there and what phraseology you were going to use. I like it. Not named Felix Chapman.
Chapman has 5 of 25 or more. 3 over 30. And he's pacing towards 20 again as he's now up to 15 kills, 4 coming in this set.
The question here is Felix Chapman really starting to wake up. That's a big kill. Doug Zemmo's right hand not quite over the net and gets advantage taken out of it by Chapman.
Kenny sets up Zemma and he delivers.
A lot of setters in that situation go tight. They might try to get greedy, look for the dump. Kenny is a setter-first setter. He makes sure that Doug Zemma's on approach line, and he gets the ball into his hitter's hands.
Jonas, tough back set. Zemma lays out and saves it, and then reach out and plant someone.
Oh,
Peter
man.
Canole on what was a soft free ball just smashes it down.
He just paddled that right back at him. Just quick snap of the wrist.
Is he playing pickleball?
I don't know.
Venegas gets the bounce off the triple block, and it's now a 12-10 deficit. Joe Norman already has 19 kills, looking for his first ace. Over the 20-point threshold today to go with his 2 block points. Here's Chapman. Norman just stands up straight and digs it over like it's nothing. And then Chapman misses wide as he was trying to avoid Norman's defense.
Yeah, not something you hear frequently. Avoiding Joe Norman's defense is
I think it's the first time I've ever said that.
I think it might be, and possibly the last, but Norman stuck in there, got a nice dig, even though it turned into an overpass. Hey, when you're playing competitive, keep the balloon off the floor. Sometimes that's all it takes because you're giving the guy a chance to make an error, and Chapman did there, so Norman's defense rewarded. Love to see that for the big man.
Listen, Joe Norman may not have had the best form in the world while digging that last ball, but you know, to his credit, when you're 6'10", it's hard to get that low that fast.
I'll take function over form all day long, Ira.
As that is stuck through by Grosh for the Tornadoes side out. So this will be a service opportunity for Joe Grosh, former BYU performer. Finished his career with the Cougars during the 2016 season. BYU, of course, has had a couple years of rebuilding. Former program for Russell Holmes and Jake Langlois, so many great players in the NVA. This is run down by Chapman. They're going to go here to Venegas. And dumped over again. Another chance for the Freedom to run something. They go to Burrell, and he comes through with the kill.
Sloppy play on the side of the Tornadoes there. Had a couple free ball opportunities, and they could not string it together. Well taken advantage of by Team Freedom. If someone's going to give you a nice, easy point to score, you just take it, say thank you, and go next.
Yeah, speaking of BYU, they're probably the most represented collegiate program here in the NBA in terms of most players out of one program. And that is a backline violation on the serve, so the service error hands it to Chapman. 2-point lead for the Tornadoes, down 2-1.
Well, 14-12, if they're able to keep battling and hold on, we might go the distance here.
That would be something.
Oh, big swing, Chapman.
Over on one. They go to Rivera, and he delivers. The Dallas Tornadoes got to win this set, or their season will end. New Jersey last year fell in the quarterfinal round. Of course, they were not 10-0 last year. I think they were 6-4, if I remember correctly, at the end of the regular season. Started 5-0.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
Find themselves in a bit of a pickle now as that ace sends us to a technical timeout, and the Tornadoes up 16-12. Can they hang on and send it to Game 5? More to come here at the Pierce Sports Center. Well, New Jersey decided to rest Matt Seifert and decided to rest Ryan Alou. And if this goes to a fifth set, they may rue that decision, Nick, as that sails long.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It is championship weekend. Did New Jersey make a mistake? The Tornadoes are going to challenge this. They feel this was in. Freedom pretty confident that was long out.
Yeah, that wasn't particularly close. The difference here, so an important thing to note, when you're calling lines properly, Each line judge is responsible for 2 lines. So even if the ball is 100 feet out of bounds, so long as it is inside of what your responsibility is, you call in. That's not indicative saying that the ball is in the court. It means that it wasn't out wide. So then when we get the call out on the line judge on the respective depth sideline there, they called out. And so at that point, you know, it doesn't make sense that Tornadoes is arguing that one guy has called in. However, if they just think that the call was wrong on the back line, that's where you can feel free to go ahead and utilize that challenge. Clear as day, that ball's out by almost a foot, hitting that back blue line. So that's a quick and easy challenge, and Freedom back underway.
Well, of course, they can only have one time, or one challenge, should say, if they go to a 5th set. The 3 that you had, use them or lose them, and they just lost one of them.
But they were right on their other ones. So if I'm not mistaken, right now, both teams sitting at 2 challenges.
Yep, both have 2 remaining, as each has won a challenge. Of course, you get 3 challenges. You get 3 challenges in the first 4 sets. If you win it, you keep it. If not, well, you lost it. You have 2 others to work with before the 5th set. New Jersey trying to make sure we don't get to a 5th set, but that won't help. Rivera and Chase McKenzie with the stuff down on Joe Norman, and the lead is 17-13. And we will see our first change here. Paul Bolanczyk will come in the middle, replacing Doug Zema. They also have, of course, Matt Seifert and Matt Buffum. Pair of Matts in the middle on the bench.
Considering they haven't used Bolanczyk much this year, you know, he was a mainstay in the Chicago Untouchables last season. I'm surprised that that's who they're opting for here when they might be needing Matt Seifert.
Venegas, that will be collected by Schuldenberg. And a cross-court winner by Peter Canole.
That was blocked off the head of Rivera. That Schuldenberg tracked it down, got that opportunity.
18-13. Unreal that a 4-6 Tornado squad that New Jersey swept earlier this year may take this to a 5th set. They go headhunting as Tim Ferrier. Well,
right spot.
It's better to catch it than have your head decapitated.
Yeah, oh, you missed one. Poor Johnny Gomez. He's not doing too hot after that headshot earlier today, by the way.
I missed that match. The Tyrants over Southern Exposure in 3 sets. Oh, Felix Chapman misses that one long and wide. As a 3-point lead now. New Jersey trying to rally. Oh, and Chapman, I don't know if that was going to stay on the court. Venegas almost had his head taken off.
There's just some head hunting going on. Chapman acknowledges through the net, hey man, my bad, wasn't going after you or anything there. Just some common courtesy. Big boys take big swings.
This is big boy volleyball, is former EIVA commissioner, now Commissioner Emeritus Ivan Marquez likes to say. That is stuffed down. Quiones and Grosh, and New Jersey finds themselves in a big hole now, down 20-15. We might be looking at game 5.
Yeah, there's a lot to break down there too. Curious to see how this one continues.
Better pass by Ferrier. They will go to him from the right side. Big high pass for Chapman with the roll, and he campfires it right in the middle of the court, and New Jersey needs a timeout, and they'll take one. New Jersey trying to figure things out. We'll see if they do when we return. New Jersey down 6. That last play, almost unforgivable. Nick, what did you see?
Well, I like to see that Felix Chapman there gets a very high bump set, very off the net and over his head. But instead of missing that same swing going across court that we've seen so many times, heads up play, roll shot to the middle of the court. So maybe he can continue kind of managing swings. Obviously, a guy like that is feeling the pressure, and it's his role to terminate. So he doesn't want to go to start roll shotting every ball, but throwing 1 or 2 in here and there, definitely a good look for the big man.
The defending champion OC Stunners are in the semifinals. The upstart 9-1 Texas Tyrants are in the semifinals. New Jersey Freedom, they got some work to do if they want to get there. This one missed long. Chapman, that's been the one major error in his armor today, is struggling to keep it between the lines. So Matt Seifert is getting ready on the sidelines. See if he makes an appearance. This goes to 5th set. Pretty sure we'll see him. Collected by Belantic off the net. Good set to Venegas from Ryan Kenny. And Chapman able to tool the block for the kill. And I think Carlo Edger is going to challenge whether that might have clipped the line.
So I think that he's going to look for a touch. As it was careening off the block, Chapman was doing his favorite little twinkle toes impression there, trying to scoot out of the way quickly. The concern is, and honestly, his face didn't look overly confident that it didn't hit him, but hard to say. We will find out. And again, this is one of those that, regardless if it touched him or not, this angle might be tricky to see for the cameras. And so if it's not irrefutable, this is where sometimes, like Chapman earlier, we saw him admit, like, oh yeah, I netted, I touched that. This is one he's definitely gonna say, hey, prove it. You know.
Well, some of these guys have a poker face, some do not. Chapman does not have a poker face.
And here you go.
Does it get him on the way out? This will be pretty conclusive, I think, from this angle, Nick. If he catches him on the left side of the leg.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
You're looking at a 2D. This is the thing. You're looking at 2D, and I don't know. Maybe they can pull the 3-meter line camera from that side, but I don't. Yeah, here's that angle.
Crucial point here in game 4. It'll either be 22-16 or 21-17.
This will likely show if there's any change in ball direction, but I don't see it. I mean, not for the sake of it being the right call or not. Again, sometimes you have to challenge in terms of what the camera can prove.
That looked like it clipped the edge of his shorts, but the officials can't, well, it's not enough conclusive evidence there.
So yeah, and again, that's just where I don't disagree with the challenge, but you got to challenge where you can win. So again, if they lose this though, we're going to 5 where they're going to get another challenge anyway, so it's not necessarily a bad challenge by any means.
So as New Jersey asks, who is the next server in the lineup? Just a momentary freeze here of the Tornadoes setter, Andres Quiones. His team 3 points away from doing the unthinkable, and that's taking the unbeaten. Only team in the history of the NVA to go unbeaten in a regular season, New Jersey Freedom, the distance. They go to Norman. He's been quiet. Maybe that'll restart the engine.
That's as good a block touch as we have seen against Norman all match long, and no one there to pick it up. Seifert enters the court replacing Burrell. They're going to get him ready and warm. They want him ready to go for set number 5.
If you're potentially going to a 5th, you bring out your all-star middle. And Seifert, a lot easier to get warm on the court than stretching on the sideline. And that one is going to fall in. Quiones, I'm sorry, that was Canole. Berger couldn't handle it. 23-17.
This is really feeling like it's just going to turn into who gets that pop out of that 5th set start. because right now Tornadoes is hot compared to where Freedom's at. Do they answer back, or are they just going to keep on being down?
They go back to Norman. Blocked back, second chance. Venegas, that's going to get the touch.
Good control there from Venegas. Once again, we've been talking about how well he's contributed all night long. A little bit, a crafty bit to squeak that one through.
So he's now in double figures in kills.
His serving game has been lights out.
And they're going to need it if this goes to a fifth set. Norman will look for a late run. Go to Chapman, and just too much heat off the block. And the Dallas Tornadoes will serve for the set. And we will see a substitution here.
Yeah, it's going to be number 15, Javier Guerrero. We saw him in set number 1 serve, or come in as a serving sub, and he missed that serve. See if he's able to do something more for Grosh here on set point for set number 4, 24-18.
Venegas down the line. Good touch by Dallas to save it. But that one's going to drift out of play.
I think that point right there is so indicative of the way the Tornadoes are playing. Yes, Freedom got the point, but man, it didn't feel good. They got all 3 touches, a stellar dig, and that almost came back over. But Venegas right now, if there's someone you want on the back line for Freedom, it's him. Unfortunately, on his last serving attempt, he committed a foot fault.
Well, he's had 3 aces in a row earlier in this match. If you could repeat that here, the Freedom have a chance here in this 4th set. They go to Chapman. And that one doesn't stay between the lines. A kill from Felix, who turned it on in game 4. And this one is going the distance. The unbeaten New Jersey Freedom looking to survive. Will they? We'll find out when we come back for game number 5. And we're back here courtside. We're going to send it to Noah Chass as we begin game 5 with the sideline update.
We're here in set 5. I don't know how many of us thought it would get to that point. And there's a lot of questions right now. You knew the Freedom did not have Ian Cap and their setter Matt Elias, down 2 All-Stars. But 2 of their other All-Stars, Ryan Alou and Matt Seifert, not starting or playing up until the very last point of that 4th set. And here they are in the 5th. And again, it's questionable decision-making to rest some of your best guys. And to me, it reminds me of the Tornadoes earlier in the season when they were playing the Seattle Sasquatch. They knew they only had Felix Chapman for a certain amount of games, and they kind of gave some disrespect to the Sasquatch, playing a bit lackadaisical, dropped a set. Chapman had to leave, and they ended up losing the match. So could this come back to bite the unbeaten New Jersey Freedom, and can the Dallas Tornadoes steal one? We'll have to wait and see.
Good insight from you, Noah, and you and I were talking about that during the break.
Yeah.
New Jersey, if they lose this match, have themselves to blame.
Oh, 100%. Plain and simple, like part of being in any sport, in any league, you have to manage personnel. Whether it be in football, when you're in the dog days, you've got some injured linemen that you would love not to be starting, a D-line guy on the O-line, whatever, what have you. injuries are part of it. The NBA, every year, you hear fans, oh, woulda, coulda, shoulda. You have the personnel to not put the right team or the best possible team on the court. However you want to justify it, as far as I'm concerned, is disrespectful and is mismanagement of the situation. I think that there's a lot of good decisions, but in full transparency, I think that Freedom is completely defendable in terms of the team that they put on the court. Sans, maybe Seifert. I think Alou is, I think Cunningham has played very well. So does Alou do something more, maybe? I don't know, but I don't think Cunningham's been the issue here. And same thing with Seifert. It's like, I think the middles have played well. But if you're gonna talk about it later, I have to be critical of those decisions now. And, sometimes you get through the season, and that's where it's almost like you want to go take a loss during the season. You want to get hit in the jaw once and learn what it's like to be down. Will that get them here? We'll have to see, like Noah said.
Now, if New Jersey loses this set, their season is over. If they win, well, you're guaranteed at least 2 matches. Semifinal and either a championship or the 3rd place match. Played a 15 here in the 5th set, and Felix Chapman, who had 9 kills in the 4th set after having 11 through the first 3, now has a match lead with 21, one more than Joe Norman, who is, well, he's cooled down.
And I gotta say, Joe Norman's done everything we asked of him. We said if Freedom was gonna win, he needs a 20-plus point game. And he's done that. He's done it very well.
A lot of nerves on the New Jersey bench. That will help as Chapman sends that one into the Inland Empire. So Matt Seifert will serve today. One of the 2 Penn State greats in this building. The other one started off this set with a report. That's poked over. Chance for New Jersey. They go to Burrell, and he delivers.
And one of the great things about the 5th set in the sport of volleyball, and Nick, you and I talked about this with the Stunners and the Stingers. The regular season doesn't matter. The previous 4 sets don't matter. Season's on the line. It's one race to 15.
Yep.
And if you're the better team, you'll show up.
Absolutely, Noah. Great callback. That was a lot of fun earlier getting to cast that.
Now, and Angel Rivera says, let's tie this sucker up. 2-2. And, well, he hasn't had a ton of offensive opportunities today, but that is his 8th kill.
Hey, all I want to see is I just want to see both teams throwing haymakers. Burrell answers beautifully. Rivera gets a chance to go right back. I just want to see big swings coming out here in the 5th set.
Carter with a pass from McKenzie. Norman able to stick that off the block. 21 kills for Mr. Norman as he'll drop back to serve.
Norman cooled down a little bit during the end of set 4, got blocked about 3 or 4 times, but he is still their answer. Joe Norman is more than capable of putting this Freedom team on his back, but we'll see if he can do it here. We saw Corey Chavers this morning all by himself drag the OC Stunners to a win and punch the tickets for Saturday and Sunday.
Drag he did, and we'll see if Joe Norman can be that guy today. They don't have an Ian Cap to turn to. Takes a little off of that one. Schildenberg with the clean pass. And into the official stand. We're knotted at 3. Nervous times for the New Jersey Freedom if you're a fan of this squad.
Shoot, I'm anxious just watching this, It's like, what, are we about to see a massive upset?
There's an uneasy feeling in your stomach knowing the team, the Freedom, was in the regular season, the players they put out, and what's happening right now.
Negus, that was outside the antenna, and the official blows the whistle. Tornadoes lead 4-3. This would be, well, comparable to a 16-0 Patriots team losing in the first round of the playoffs. Talking about the NFL, of course. Sneaky, sneaky Ryan Kenny ties it up.
Hasn't dumped all match long, waits until the dog days here in set number 5 to sneak that one in.
And so we were talking about that earlier, the setter dump when you don't normally do that. If you get it, it's great, it's sneaky, well-timed, we love it. If you mess it up, hit it in the net,
Man.
Terrible play, everyone hates you, it's the wrong move.
Yep.
Easy for us on a Friday evening quarterback. Big serve for Venegas. They go to Chapman, and that one is long. Dallas believes there was a touch. Cunningham says, no, not me. And if the Tornadoes do choose to challenge this, well, be careful, because you won't have another challenge in this match if you lose it.
So a lot of the calls here in the conversation was whether there was a touch or not on the block, also back row with Cunningham. Back row on Cunningham was not a challengeable call, but they've decided early on like this, they do not want to use their one challenge. So Tornadoes lets it go.
They go to Canole, and he ties it again. It's 5-5.
The parity between these two teams right now. Norman, 21 kills. Chapman, 21 kills. Canole, Venegas, the second outsides, just continuing to deliver in clutch moments. Burrell and Rivera just countering each other with big swings in the middle. These two teams are playing nearly identical.
12 kills for Canole. They go to Ferreter. That's going to find its way for a kill for New Jersey. New Jersey maybe playing with some fatigue. We talked about the travel difficulties. They got in very, very late last night. At least for them, they actually got in, unlike me, having to scramble. But Tornadoes, you would think, would be the fresher of the two, not as far to travel and didn't have the same travel difficulties. But right now, it's player go home, and Freedom has decided to start playing. An ace for Tom Burrell, and it's 7-5. They've put up 2 in a row.
Quick note here in terms of keeping track of the game. At 8 points, we will switch sides. Freedom wants to score this point and change sides on their own accord.
They go to Chapman, and he sticks it through the block. Kill number 22, side out Dallas. Peter Canole to serve. Well, this is already a more entertaining fifth set than we had in our first fifth setter today.
This has been, I don't know, unless you're a Corey Chavers fan, that was clinical by him.
They go to Ferreter, that's blocked back. Do they get Seifert involved for the first time? And he does get blocked. Chapman and Grosh with the rejection, and we are tied at 7. I think it was kind of predictable. They were going to Seifert there.
It was, and that's where I was being critical earlier. Paul Balanza got brought in during set number 4. If you're going to use Seifert in the 5th, why are you not bringing him there to make sure that he's gotten a swing or two?
Seifert there for the pass. Norman, and gets a little help from the net, but he gets the kill, number 22, and we will switch sides. Freedom clutching an 8-7 lead. So Dallas will come to our side. Team Freedom takes their time to walk over, take the left side of the court if you were watching this one at home.
And this is such an interesting moment in the story of the New Jersey Freedom season. If they survive this, it's, whoo, you catch your breath. Maybe you learned a little something, like maybe taking a loss in the regular season, you learn something about yourself. If they lose it, there's a lot of reevaluating, a lot of thinking, a very long plane ride back to the East Coast.
And an 8-month period to think about before we start again next year. And Ferreter thought he had that hanging in the air, but Chapman able to put it through, and we are even at 8.
If I'm reading body language right, Angel Rivera accidentally poked Quinones on his approach in the eye while Quinones was trying to set that, and it led to a bit of a mislocation. Certainly one of those things you don't want to be dealing with as a setter, and my gosh, that is an untimely missed float serve.
First missed serve in a while for Dallas. Tim Ferreter, 9-8. You lose this match, you think about it until April 14th, 2023, when next year begins. That's gonna be an ace for New Jersey!
Wow, Ferreter comes in clutch. They haven't seen much from him on the service line in terms of aces tonight. The only ace contributor thus far has actually been Daniel Venegas with 4. No one else in the squad to contribute any yet, so you could not pick a better time.
12 aces, or 12 kills and 1 ace. 2-point lead for New Jersey. They go to their big gun. New Jersey collects it off the net. Gonna come over. They set up Norman and collected here by Cano on a broken play. And Felix Chapman, it's Chapman time if they're gonna win. And he puts away his 23rd kill.
And every time a rally continues on, you know that ball's just gonna keep going back to Chapman, and it's only a matter of time before he ends it.
He's getting every set, every single ball.
And now they will come from the back row as he drops back to serve, his team down 1. And that one is long as Venegas ducks and covers.
That's his 6th serving error. He's got 3 aces. That's why they want him going after it. But now Freedom with a 2-point lead. If they're able to earn 1 more real point right now, they are going to put Tornadoes in a very tough spot.
Seifert, one of the better serving middles in the league. Of course, Nick West is by far the best. New Jersey with a chance here off of the block. They set up Norman, and it's outside the antenna.
Man.
Crucial miss for New Jersey. One-point deficit. Chase McKenzie has already got a pair of aces. Tornadoes have 7. They will look to tie it. Nervous moments here at the Pierce Sports Center. That's going to come over on 1. Oh my! Oh, Tom Burrell blocking what looked like it was going to be a kill. And there's going to be a discussion here between the officials. What did you see, Nick?
So that was off of, so what they're looking for is Ryan Kenny went hands up over the net. If that ball hits him, back row attack. They're claiming he pulled hands, and that basically was Tom Burrell wearing that in his face and chest, comes over the net, lands in the court. The entire discussion right now is, did Ryan Kenny touch the ball, or did he get out of the way?
Exactly, Nick. The full contact was Burrell. That's obvious. Was there a hair that skimmed off Ryan Kenny? Because that would be an infraction.
And I don't know that this is challengeable. Matt Prosser and I talked about this a little bit earlier. Because it's a judgment call. No, this should be challengeable, I think, because you're attacking.
Well, our up official right away pulled Felix and said, I'm going to tell you what I saw. So that's what makes me think it might be a judgment, because he seems confident in what he says, or what he saw, and is telling that to Felix right away.
Well, if the play is challengeable, if you're the Dallas Tornadoes, take it now, because if not, New Jersey has themselves a 12-10 lead, and Joe Norman as your server.
I mean, Tom Burrell took one for the team there, wearing that one up in the air, got lucky with it.
Instead, the Tornadoes are going to talk about this one. Timeout on the court. Game 5 to continue when we return. So Ivan Andujar, head coach for the Tornadoes, takes the first timeout. They have 1 remaining. Huge serve coming up here from Joe Norman. 2-point lead. They're playing to 15, trying for a date with the defending champion OC Stunners in the semifinals. Off the tape. They go to Cano, and he gets a critical side out.
every single set, you can feel in here is just anxiety in the air.
Jersey's been one of the best blocking teams in the league this year, sans the OC Stunners, and they haven't been able to really slow down the Tornadoes at the net. They go to Venegas, and he tools the block. My goodness, the late addition to the roster this year, Venegas coming through in big spots. He will serve 2 away from the victory.
13-11, the most important point. Save the last one right now, Venegas.
Great serve, free ball. And this one, who touched it last? It was New Jersey.
Yep.
And a side out to the Tornadoes.
Great call from what I saw there as well. A wipe off the hand. Heads up play by Quinones.
New Jersey is talking this one over. And, well, they have a challenge to use. They're going to challenge the block touch at the net, I believe.
All right, so once again, this is something that has changed a bit in the last 2 years, the way that this gets called traditionally. So most people used to see that when there's a 50-50 ball, you'll typically have someone who pushes first. And you used to see that whoever pushed first would they would tend to get the point because they would be wiping it. It was viewed as that they're wiping it off the hand of the other player. However, where that started to change is sometimes the blocker pushes it back into them. Their hands are no longer in contact, and the first contact on the ball is the guy actually throws that out of bounds. So we're going to try to see here. This doesn't quite look like the right point that we're looking for, so they'll keep searching through.
And Nick, this might be another one of those strategic challenges, even if you don't fully believe it. I mean, if you look at the score, 13-12, if you get it, you have match point. If you don't, I mean, there's only a few points left in this match anyway. You might as well take that challenge if it's close.
I don't think this is going to get overturned. I agreed with the call in the moment. Oh, this will be a great angle. So 50-50 contact.
This is definitely our best angle here. I don't know. I think that's off Quinones' hand there. Look at that.
It could be. This is really tough to tell.
This is definitely our best angle. This will determine whether this overturns or not.
Let's put it this way. I'm glad I'm not the one making the decision right now, just the one chatting about it.
Yeah, look at the follow through by Quinones.
But you can't tell where the ball is. They're going to have to try to figure out. I don't know.
This is quite something. Wow. And a huge argument here from Quinones and Coach Andujar as the officials overturn the call. New Jersey wins the challenge.
Yeah.
We thought that last angle, Nick, was a decisive one.
Yeah.
And instead of it being 13-12, it's 14-11. And New Jersey will hand the ball to Daniel Venegas with match point.
Yeah, that's crazy, but
I understand the plight of the Dallas Tornadoes, but that last angle, that seemed to be the one.
Well, wouldn't be a good match without a lot of drama. But Dallas Tornadoes disagreeing, and they're going to take a timeout here, and we'll soon see how this one unfolds.
Tornadoes use their last timeout. We'll go to break for the final time to come back for the conclusion of game number 5. Tornadoes, it's do or die time here. Daniel Venegas will serve to send New Jersey to the semifinals. Head coach Ivan Andujar still having a conversation with official Stephen Shepard. Venegas on match point. They will go to Chapman. And of course, he keeps them going.
Right now, you gotta lock it in. The concern is that the Tornadoes are all out of sorts after that call. And they're taking it up with the court refs. Now, something to remember, and we've seen this earlier when the Ramblers played the Tyrants in a close fifth set and had a very similar situation, disagreements on whose responsibility is to call what. I'll get back to that in a second.
Match point number 2. They go to Farrier. Reach out, and no stuff for you. And the season is over for the Tornadoes unless this is overturned with a touch. So they are going to challenge this? Is that what's happening here, Nick?
No. This is not challengeable. Hang on. So. Oh. Okay, you're right. Okay, so the call is out of bounds. As this stands right now, game is over. Dallas Tornadoes are going to use their challenge. They're not going to let this end without that. So they're going to look for a touch to have touched the Dallas or to touch New Jersey Freedom. Based on everything we saw, no touch. As far as I'm concerned, this is over. New Jersey Freedom has punched their ticket to play the OC Stunners tomorrow. But they're not going to leave anything unturned and the possibility that this couldn't go their way. So I respect it from the Dallas Tornadoes using this. You gotta look for anything you can.
Oh, 100%. If they don't win this, their season is over.
Yeah.
If they win this challenge, Nick, hey, it's 14-13, and we are in certainly in a spot because now New Jersey's already evaporated 2 match points, and this would be a third, and we could be playing beyond.
So I do want to address kind of what I was talking about earlier. So earlier this season, when the Ramblers were playing the Tyrants, basically there are responsibilities for your down ref and your up ref. Who makes what calls and if you overturn things. But the big difference here is basically that once you have one of the refs make their call, if you challenge, you have to have irrefutable to overturn. At the time, one of the refs during that Tyrants-Ramblers match overturned the up ref. But there was nothing to overturn it on the challenge. It was indistinguishable. However, in the challenge that we saw here, there was enough evidence that our reffing team was able to take a look at that deflection touch that we looked at 2 points ago. They overturned the court call, meaning that they had enough evidence to do so. So when you see the Tornadoes are upset about it, I get it, but at the same time, they're complaining with the court refs that it has now superseded them, gone upstairs and made that call.
They're going to look at every angle possible. You could tell from the reaction from John Cunningham, there was no touch. But if you're the Dallas Tornadoes, you exhaust every life you got. This is the 9th life in the Dallas Tornadoes cat season. Listen, the Tornadoes were very much in position to win this match. Why not at this point? New Jersey, they're sitting there. Well, I think confidently know that they've won this, but you're the officials.
It doesn't make you any less anxious. Doesn't make until you hear that final whistle. All right, we're taking a look. There it is.
New Jersey Freedom take the challenge, and the 10-0 Freedom continue the ring. They are 11-0, and they survive in 5 sets as they edge the Dallas Tornadoes 15-13 in the 5th set, and they win this match 3-2. Incredible effort today for the Dallas Tornadoes in defeat. They were broken at times, but they got on the Felix Chapman train once he found his way back in the tracks and nearly found themselves in the semifinals. They have nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of those. That was a miracle run we just saw get put together, and maybe that's a little bit of a wake-up call for the Freedom, because they're going to go play a team that now it looks like almost identical matches. OC Stunners taking down the Stingers there, back against the wall, had to step up, answer the call, come back and win it. And now we've seen another 5-setter, so tomorrow is going to be an absolute treat in that 6 o'clock match as the Stunners and Freedom go head-to-head, two of the perennial powerhouses in the NVA.
That is an incredible point by you because both teams had to go the distance. They were tested. They had their backs against the wall. And, well, more New Jersey surviving because the Stunners obviously were a lot more dominant in the fifth set than New Jersey was today. Sure. But a wake-up call for sure. New Jersey, they got away with maybe not playing their best lineup. And tomorrow you'll have two teams on the court that are missing some critical pieces. Both starting setters, by the way.
Yeah, very much the case. But we do want to take a quick look at the bracket so you can see.
Take a deep breath with me.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
What was racing through your mind during that replay challenge call?
Our guys are confident that you know, we had completed the match. Tim Ferreter did a great job in that last set, really closing it out for us.
Is this the direction you expected this match to go?
We knew it was going to be a hell of a fight. These guys came out here. They balled their hearts out. You know, everyone's giving their all. Our team just happened to come out on top.
How about, I mean, that play, luckily, hitting Tom Burrell, bouncing over, dropping right in. I mean, just luck's on your side. What did that feel like to see that drop in?
Oh, man, it was a magical moment. Tom does, he's got some magic in him, I swear.
You've punched your ticket to the semis, squeaking by. How do you take this absurd win and move on to tomorrow?
I think we just we recover well tonight. Everyone is going to do their own thing, and we'll come together as a team tomorrow, and we'll give it our all.
Joe Norman and the New Jersey Freedom surviving this 5-setter and staying 11-0 and alive in the playoff race.
Well, they survived indeed. I kind of like how Noah started that. Take a deep breath, because if you're in New Jersey, you are breathing a sigh of relief that you hung on here. This could have been a catastrophic loss after starting the year 10-0. You know, they'll get stronger. They'll learn from this one. I expect to see Seifert in the starting lineup tomorrow. I think it's a toss-up whether it'll be Cunningham or Alou, because I thought John Cunningham, on his 30th birthday, happy birthday, John, had an incredible effort. Alou, of course, the all-star libero. So, I don't know, your takeaways from this one. Joe Norman obviously started hot and cooled down. We look at the numbers. 55 attacks for Felix Chapman, 25 kills, most of them in the last 2 sets.
Yeah, I mean, my takeaway is Tornadoes, man, when they finally get their whole roster, it looks like there's a lot of the pieces that are right where they want them to be. The other takeaway is New Jersey human. Are they beatable? And maybe they kind of walked in here and it's that chip on the shoulder, hey, we're 10-0, but guys, you got to play to win here. And maybe that was a bit of a wake-up call that is Cap that much of the X Factor? Is Elias that much of the X Factor? Maybe pretty easily justifiable, to be frank. But the rest of the team not able to step up and handle business against a team that frankly was the 4th seed coming in? I don't know.
Well, they have proven over the course of the year they can win without their top weapons, but can they repeat that when we get to the semifinals tomorrow? Well, New Jersey, they are going to be there, and they are fortunate to do so. So, for an incredible match we were lucky to see today. You have to see New Jersey tomorrow against the OC Stunners, but we have one more match to go today, and that will be at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 Eastern, when the 9-1 Las Vegas Ramblers take on the 4th seed in that bracket, the LA Blaze, in our final quarterfinal of the day. So for Nick England and Noah Chess on the sideline, I'm Ira Thor saying, so long from the Pierce Sports Center in San Bernardino, California, where the final score in 5 sets, New Jersey Freedom survives the Dallas Tornadoes 24-26, 25-17, 25-19, 19-25, and officially 15-12 to advance to the NVA semifinals. A reminder that all games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of the National Volleyball Association and ESPN. Good night from San Bernardino.